those we harvest. It all started on a seemingly ordinary day, September 14, 2078. My name doesn't matter, but I am a journalist, one who has seen a fair share of the world's darkness. But nothing could prepare me for the horrors I was about to uncover. The Earth's condition had worsened over the decades. Climate change had reached a tipping point, causing extreme weather patterns and devastating natural disasters. The polar ice caps had all but melted, causing the sea levels to rise and swallow coastal cities whole. Global food and water shortages were rampant, and the overpopulated world was struggling to support its inhabitants. The gap between the wealthy elite and the impoverished masses had only grown wider, creating a chasm that seemed impossible to bridge. The day began as I received an anonymous tip about a hidden facility in the outskirts of the city. The message was brief, but it hinted at something sinister. Following my instincts, I decided to investigate. As I approached the location, I noticed the heavy security. There was no doubt that something important was hidden behind those walls. I managed to sneak in, evading the guards, and found myself inside a massive underground complex. I had stumbled upon something much larger than I had anticipated. The air was thick with the stench of chemicals and the distant echoes of machinery. As I ventured deeper into the complex, the true nature of the place started to reveal itself. Bodies, human bodies, were suspended in large tanks, connected to a network of tubes and wires. I felt a knot forming in my stomach as I realized the horrifying truth. I was standing in a factory designed to harvest human flesh. I wandered through the nightmarish labyrinth, discovering room after room filled with mutilated corpses, organs in jars, and vats of synthetic flesh. The elite had found a way to achieve immortality, and they were willing to pay any price, no matter how gruesome. The poor, those deemed expendable, were kidnapped and brought here to be harvested for their organs and tissues, fueling the perverse desires of the rich. The people running this operation were skilled at covering their tracks. This ongoing operation had been undetected for years, feeding on society's most vulnerable. They had created an empire built on suffering and death, and now I had stumbled upon it. I knew I had to expose them, but I had to find concrete evidence first. As I crept through the dimly lit corridors, I heard faint cries and moans. I followed the sounds and came across a holding area, filled with those who were still alive, but barely. Their eyes pleaded for mercy, their voices hoarse from screaming. I knew I couldn't save them on my own, but I promised myself I would return with help. I continued my search for evidence and found the control room, where the harvester complex's records were kept. The information contained there would be enough to bring the operation down and expose the powerful individuals behind it. I hastily copied the files onto a drive and made my way back towards the exit. I was almost out when the alarm sounded. I had been discovered, and now the entire facility was on high alert. Panic surged through me as I sprinted through the corridors, my heart pounding in my chest. I could hear the guards' heavy footsteps closing in, but I couldn't afford to be caught. Narrowly escaping capture, I made it out of the complex and back to the safety of my apartment. I knew I had to act quickly, as the people behind the harvester complex would stop at nothing to protect their secret. I reached out to some trusted contacts and formulated a plan to rally the downtrodden, those who had been preyed upon for so long. They were ready for a fight, and I had just given them a reason. The days that followed were filled with chaos and bloodshed, as the city erupted into a full-blown uprising. They fought back against the elite, armed with the knowledge of their atrocities. The battles were brutal and unforgiving, but we fought with a righteous fury that could not be extinguished. In the end, the harvester complexes were destroyed, and the people responsible were exposed and brought to justice. The survivors were freed, and the world was forever changed. The horrors we had witnessed left deep scars, and we knew that healing would take time. The fight had been won, but the cost was immense. As the dust settled, I dedicated myself to helping the survivors. I founded a support network to provide medical care, therapy, and resources to help them rebuild their lives. We vowed to ensure that the darkness of the harvester complexes would never be forgotten. The revolution had shaken the very foundations of society, forcing us to confront the inequalities and corruption that had allowed such horrors to fester. A new era had begun. But the memories of the atrocities I had witnessed would stay with me forever, a haunting reminder of the depths of human depravity. I had always sought the truth, no matter how painful or disturbing. I had seen the worst of humanity, but I soon learned that the fight against evil was far from over. One night, as I dug through the documents I had stolen from the control room, I came across a hidden file. It contained a single cryptic message: Project Resurgence, activation imminent. The blood in my veins ran cold as I realized the implications. We thought we had won. A sense of hopelessness washed over me as I pondered the possibility that our fight had only just begun. The world might have changed, but the darkness was far from vanquished. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date with our latest content.